have to confess that I've had the most unusual of 24-hour periods. I live here in Atlanta, so it's not far to travel. But when Sanjay asked me to speak at the conference, I told him several months ago, and I would consider Sanjay a friend, and so I said, I've got every desire to be there. I have one very important thing, and that is my daughter is having a baby, and she's due that week. And I don't know what you thought, but I thought the chances of it happening were like, yeah, he did. He said, I'll give you a police escort, all of that. But in your mind, you're like, whoever has their child on the week of their due date, right? So the chances are slim. So yesterday afternoon, of course, my daughter went into labor. And late last night, we had a little baby, Mason. He is so adorable and very captivating to the degree that I did not sleep a 1 wink last night. Because, you know, they make those little tiny noises. They just, you didn't miss one of them. So for me to be the last speaker, I'm bringing all my energy. Actually, I did say, I was thinking about that last night, sitting on that cot at Northside Hospital, that being a new parent brings a whole new meaning to energy and sustainability, like as a parent, right? So thank you so much for having me today. As Eric said, I'm Jana Schmidt, and I get the pleasure of leading Ecova as well as being a Nana. So I just wanted to go through some things that we're thinking about at Ecova to help you better understand where we are today and where we believe our future is headed. And many of you are partners of ours, clients of ours, and none more strategic than Urginet. And so we want to let you in on, you know, how we're seeing the future at Ecova. This conference is all about many of the forces that are at work, so I'm not telling you anything you don't know. Many of the conference breakout sessions you had address this, but there's so many kind of overwhelming. I was speaking that this is such an incredible pace of change for our industry that it's difficult to really to understand the dramatic shifts that are happening, whether it's global energy price fluctuation, regulatory mandates, zero energy, zero waste, Internet of Things, big data, changing utility business models, and customer expectations radically changing. All these things are, in and of themselves, quite serious, quite ominous. And so when taken together, they certainly bring enormous change. These complicated forces that we have, they can be a burden or they can be an opportunity. And in many ways, we believe we're at a turning point. The easier changes have been made. Many of the companies that we deal with, if they were dealing with energy consumption, they've made those smart changes. Utilities have been doing an excellent job with energy efficiency programs for many years. But bigger challenges lie ahead, and there will be really high value solving them. I had the opportunity to meet with Dr. Hogan from the Department of Energy a couple of weeks ago, and she said there's $600 billion in energy consumed in the US, $200 billion in commercial, $200 billion in industrial, and about $230 in residential. So when you think about that, just in the US, the stakes are very high and the dollars are huge. So at Ecova, we are really focused on building our future to help our clients solve for these challenges. And you know, while the problems are overwhelming, the opportunities are enormous, and we could not be more excited. We have a unique position in the industry that we believe allows us to leverage our unparalleled data and to combine it with unique insight in what global leaders are doing. We're working with many of the biggest and best companies worldwide. We're developing new strategies for our commercial industrial clients and for our utilities, and we believe that this will help us to architect the future. So as we think about, I'm on the wrong slide. There we go. As we think about building the future to address these challenges our clients are facing, we think about the forces that are at work and what are those trends. So let me just talk a little bit about what those new forces at work that we see are. So starting with the move from this rear view to more of a predictive view. We've built a very strong business over the last 20 years or so looking at utility data and helped our clients to make very meaningful changes. but as you know, that's more of a rear view look. The future we're building will be real-time and predictive. Interval data and sensor data will be very much increasingly used and will give our facility clients an in-the-moment view of their building system and equipment. We'll use data to predict and to prevent inefficiencies and failures, and we'll make real-time changes to respond to peak demand or pricing strategies, and even be able to deploy technicians efficiently going to the right asset at the right building at the right time. We think this will be game-changing. We also see zero net energy and zero waste buildings being a huge force, and I know that this has been something you've talked about here. We talk to our clients all the time about what they're doing to move to zero net energy and to zero waste. More companies either have or are looking at distributed generation systems, contemplating producing either some or all of their energy with renewables. They're constructing buildings and making retrofits that will drive down their cost and impact. And we see waste becoming a much bigger player in that and becoming actually a fuel source versus a cost center. These strategies will make companies more sustainable, but they'll also help drive growth and profitability. An evolving regulatory landscape is one of the third trends we see, whether it's the EPA Clean Air Act, Section 111D, or it's California's tariffs that Governor Brown has implemented, or the New York, the REV energy, reforming energy vision in New York City. Utility and businesses alike are navigating a very complex regulatory environment, and it's driving demand on a very large scale for efficiency, for investment in renewables, distributed resources, and here again, with regulation, the rate of change is certainly going to increase. I love this one. Another trend we see is the rise of the customer. You know how we've talked for many years, we were a part of Avista for many years, in fact, founded out of Avista in Washington State, and they always used to talk about customers as ratepayers, right? If not a meter. And the rise of the customer is here. Utilities are facing a level of disruption that is really hard to comprehend and certainly never been seen before. How they interact with their residents, the homes, and the commercial industrial customers, their buildings, over the next decade won't look anything like what they've ever done before. And I know this because not only were we part of a major utility in the United States, we're now part of a major one globally with ENGIE. So this entire phenomenon about what is facing our utilities ahead is certainly a complex and difficult one. But we see innovation here. We see utilities becoming energy system collaborators. We see them becoming or buying technology companies, and we see them talking about customer service as a way to describe their platform going forward. And we see this as a huge opportunity. For example, with time of use pricing, utilities will need to somehow communicate what those opportunities are when they have peak load. And we know, because we administer so many marketing programs, that when managed well, marketing communications to customers versus ratepayers can really drive up a higher level of customer satisfaction. So this move towards automating mass customization of energy data and making really strong recommendations, personalized recommendations, we believe will shape the next decade for utilities. Global water stress. This is one that is, I think, really can't be underscored in terms of impact and opportunity that we see at Ecova. Cost savings, most of our clients talk about energy as a lead, and clearly the budget, $640 billion in the US, it's a huge number, but using Ecova's data going back to 2008, we've got a huge repository of water data, and we've seen a 40% increase in our commercial industrial clients' water prices over about a 6-year period, due to primarily the aging infrastructure we see, clearly the unprecedented drought that's going on, and corresponding restrictions and regulatory changes. When you've got the state of California, the governor setting goals of 25% reduction in potable water, NASA is talking about the Southwest and Central Plains experiencing a level of drought that hasn't been seen in 1,000 years. And all of us figuring out what that means to our clients and to ourselves, water has become one of those very, very complex and difficult challenges that we believe will be uniquely in a position to attack. And finally, a smaller, more complex world is one of the trends we see. The world is connected today in ways that we haven't seen before. In fact, even just being a part of a French multinational company for us, we see how quickly a company can go from being a part of a Northwest utility to being part of a French company and dealing with time. I don't know if you have conference calls where you got someone in Singapore, someone in Paris, someone in Spokane, someone in Seattle. This is a really exciting and shrinking world. More of our clients are looking for solutions that are global in nature. We've got people who had titles of running a business division that has suddenly got the word global in front of it. So, our clients' businesses are globalizing, and they need that problem solved. And companies that navigate global well will have a competitive advantage, and those who don't, we think that they may not fare as well. So where is Ecova headed? When you think of Ecova, I don't know how many of you know where we started. Ironically, I've been at Ecova 4 years. I started the day we rebranded, which was very convenient for me because I never had to be called any of the companies that we were before. October 17th, 2011, we became Ecova, which made it easy for me. But where we were founded was some really smart electrical engineers who were, as a part of Avista, wanted to consult and to provide value in a deregulating market. And they quickly realized the complication of providing that consultative services without data, without information and insight. So that fostered a lot of innovation from Avista, who we were very fortunate to have been a part of them for a long time. They were a very innovative company, having found Itron and doing a lot in renewables before many players were participating there, and they supported us through a long time. But they helped us to develop the first kind of web-based insight platform to show facility usage data, which was revolutionary in the 90s, and helped us to build supply management and all these services today that we have today. Now our client base is quite large. We've got 25% of the Fortune 500 companies using us, and our insight into build data, into building systems, and energy procurement work is really meaningful. In fact, just in the last 2 years, the work we did in the utility build management services and energy supply management services, we saved our clients over $1.6 billion in 2 years, those 2 years alone. And on the utility side, where we have been providing energy efficiency programs for quite some time, we have helped drive 108 terawatt hours of energy consumption down. That's enough to power all of New England, all the homes in New England for 2 full years. So it's this name that may not have, we're not IBM, but the impact we're making is certainly very significant. So while our capabilities have grown and our desires are grown, the other thing that we've focused on a lot as we talk about where we're headed is on quality and operational excellence. At Ecova, we are, as you scale up, we are very focused on quality and whether that's Six Sigma or Lean capabilities, and also working with partners who help us be better, like Urjanet, being consistent, high quality, with proven methodologies is a big part of our business today and will be even more meaningfully addressed as we continue in our future. So with that, where are we headed in terms of the future of our architecting our future? And so I just want to mention that, in case you didn't know it, we do see this intersection of opportunity and change, and that we are really happily well positioned, we believe, to address this as a part of a company called Engie, which I mentioned is this big French multinational company out of France. And prior to that was GDF Suez. And one of the reasons that we are so glad that we are a part of them is it's not just that they've got the global footprint. It's not that they've got these enormous level of services. It's because sustainability is an enormous and meaningful part of their company, and that they're a part of the top 10% of companies that are sustainability driven. And they are leading in terms of dedicating resources and prioritizing sustainability as a business opportunity, as a way to grow our company. And we believe in that strongly as well. So with that, we're making a lot of investments in our future. it's our intention to take everything we've done with the support of Engie and figure out how to leverage our capabilities and our client strength and the operational excellence and Engie's backing to help architect the future of energy, for energy, water, and waste. So let's talk about how do we do that. We want to leverage data, turn it into insight and into action. I think that probably no one would argue that these are simple concepts, and probably you've heard them before. What I think is different is the way that we are uniquely capable of executing on that. So Ecova made its start in energy cost and consumption data, and we actually have more data on that than you can imagine anyone in the market. We've got something like 700,000 sites in North America, billions and billions of data points that we manage, really the largest portfolio of its kind in North America today. So to talk about having data is a very, very big first start. On the utility side of the business, all that commercial data that we've got really turns the lights on in some of these utility portfolios where they might consider a building a ratepayer building. Suddenly, it's a building where we can help them understand how that company works and what they're doing, what their energy, water, and waste usage is, and the utility can really begin to attack very custom-driven programs for those buildings. So all of our commercial data is now being put into action to help support our utilities better attacking that small, medium, and even large business portfolio within their segments. And so for that, I would say that there's probably as much growth on the utility side of our business because of the customer engagement opportunities as there has been on the side of the commercial industrial business. So as we look ahead, data, we would argue it's in our DNA. It's what we, like I said, when we started, we figured out you can't provide energy expertise without data, and so that's where we started. So what are we doing moving forward? You know what we've done in the past, all this utility bill data, but what are we doing moving forward? And today, with our client base, we have an integrated view of their energy, water, and waste data in one real-time dashboard. This is very unique to Ecova, and it's not just on energy, it really enables us to help drive sustainability management. And with our Ecova platform, clients don't just visit there once a month or a few times a month. They actually go in there daily, some of them many, many times a day. So the ability to leverage that information and turn it into insight and action is quite unique. Our clients can manage all their sites, their critical resource data there, and they can also now, we've got several clients who are bringing in utility bill data and interval data together within the same technology platform, enabling them to do all sorts of interesting things that will add to that weather data, building profiles. The Ecova platform really has become a place for our clients to go to figure out how to better operationally manage their buildings. Because we have all of those sites across North America today, and now we have got a site in the UK, we've got an office in London, a site in Paris, and we're expanding from there. We're able to help our clients to benchmark and leverage all the data across their portfolio and across our client portfolio. We can seamlessly bring data from around the world together and create a path to help reduce operational costs and improve operational efficiency on a scale that has never been possible before. In the future, energy managers who were maybe North America energy managers who are now global energy managers will be able to access their entire portfolio and look at consumption patterns for thousands of sites across the globe, allowing them to centralize all of that and manage it to really drive facility resource consumption down. Water, I've mentioned it a few times, but we do believe this is a very important aspect of our future, and that the cost of not taking action is very high. Our clients are facing complex water risks today, and we are already doing a lot in water. We proactively manage our clients' water usage and are able to do alarm management and alert management to help figure out if there's anything going on with their water, to identify a data issue, to resolve leaks, and to help them drive down abnormally high water usage, which has definitely got an impact on cost. I talked about the predictive moving from a rear view mirror to a predictive view, which we think is going to be very important. And when you look at that, the ability to get into a facility and to figure out what's happening with their assets and be able to predict which asset might fail, which asset might need a part, or it may need maintenance. That is going to really change the view from fixing something that's broken to preventing something from breaking in the first place. And all of that data we've got on the assets will be leveraged to drive predictive maintenance in the future. And then when you add to that NG's capability to do performance contracting, to go and take over a building and to guarantee energy savings of a major building, to guarantee that in a performance contract, we think that we're going to be able to really bring all the tools together to drive down energy cost and consumption for our clients. So data into insight. Again, I'm sure you've talked a lot about this. What are we doing to understand the patterns that are at hand? Ecova is not a software company. We're not just a data company. What's really at the heart of what makes us special is the fact that we've got literally thousands of people who understand what the data is and what it means and turn it into insight. Our clients, our employees, know they know their clients inside and out, they know the verticals inside and out, and they are able to see patterns in what the data reveals. It turns out, I would say, that big data alone does not drive insight. It's the people who use the big data to drive the insight. And our data scientists are pioneers in this area, helping connect dots. They're helping to make our clients' data actionable and to drive insight that will enable utilities and facilities to implement actions at a whole new level. So a couple of ways in which we're doing that. One, I mentioned the utility-customer relationship, going from a ratepayer to a customer. With our utility team, the people on our team, we've developed an entirely new engagement model that uses customer mapping, segmentation, propensity scoring to deliver a new kind of customer experience. This model reinvents what was typically a siloed energy efficiency model to a seamless, informed customer journey, which Ecova is really delivering already for our utility clients. On the facility side, the commercial industrial side, one of the biggest problems we see is even in the very large Fortune 500 companies, they may have one or two people who are running energy management teams, a very strategic function, but almost no staffing. And so we've built an Ecova energy manager model where we really become full hands on deck to help our clients do the work that they want to do to take the data, to drive it into insight and to take action. But because they're so understaffed, they don't have that opportunity to take the data. And we had one client who, big Fortune 500 company, I think there was 2 or 3 of them, they said, don't give me a report, give me insight. Of course, they're saying, you read all the data, you tell me what to do, and bring me the recommendation, and I'll do it. And that's exactly what our energy manager model enables. And finally, you may be aware that just in the last month, Ecova announced the acquisition of Retroefficiency. Very, very excited about this. This is an organization that leads the way in building energy efficiency intelligence, and they are really doing revolutionary things with data that will help us to automate the insight portion of this in all new ways. So just a couple of things with Retroefficiency, if you're not as aware of them. They have built a proprietary software that analyzes meter data, utility bill data, and other available building information data to create and construct energy models of individual buildings. Through these virtual building audits, we're able to identify energy efficiency and demand savings opportunities for companies without ever stepping foot on the property. For pennies on the dollar, we're able to help break down and figure out what is the right opportunity for that building to engage in energy efficiency. Fraction of the time, fraction of the cost, and very highly leverageable. In fact, in New York, they challenged Retroefficiency as a part of the Building Genome Project. They rolled out across 30,000 buildings. They did these remote audits and found that these audits were able to, without ever stepping foot in these buildings, 30,000 buildings, that, for example, if these buildings could reduce the thermostat by 1 degree from normal, it could save $145 million. So it's where they took data and turned it into insight that could help Con Ed, in this case, to take action with these buildings in a whole new way. For utilities, what Retroefficiency does, along with Ecova's capabilities, is it turns the model we've had on its head. In today's world, utilities have been what I would consider kind of spray and pray, where they say, here's an energy efficiency measure, and they roll that out to everyone. With retroefficiency and Ecova combined, we're able to create a customer engagement model that is very specific with customized recommendations to those commercial building owners, providing exactly the right insight to inform what energy efficiency improvements need to be made in that building, without the cost of an in-person audit, without the cost of going on site. So it's pretty game-changing for our utilities who are looking for this precision in the commercial, especially small to medium business, where it's very difficult to penetrate cost-effectively energy efficiency programs for those customers, but even large buildings. Retroefficiency brings an entire new model, scalable model to this commercial side for utilities. So how do we turn data into insight and insight into action? Because that's where the savings are drawn. As we think about the future of energy and sustainability, as I said earlier, the easy changes have really are drawing to an end. Large commercial companies have largely engaged in this area, and utilities have pursued energy efficiency. There's still more to do, for sure. In fact, being in the South, we've got some work we can do with some of our utilities here, but there is a dramatic shift from those programs of the past to what will be the future. So what's next? Bigger action, more difficult challenges, and that's where our jobs are more important. So with Ecova, as I mentioned with ENGIE, who is the largest non-nuclear producer of power on Earth, when you bring us together, we believe that we'll be in a position to help architect that future. So here's a couple of examples of what we're working on at Ecova. Our solutions portfolio, I talked about the ability to bring bill data, utility data with interval data and with building management system data so that we can become a full resource manager of a building, from forecasting and budgeting to detection and diagnostics, all the way through maintenance and even guaranteeing energy savings. We're going to have a solution that will be truly end-to-end. We're also working with our clients on distributed energy. We've got the ability to help them model what kind of savings they can get from distributed energy resources and how they can bring those to bear, especially in critical verticals that we see that we are very well suited to serve, like hospitality, retail, grocery, and manufacturing, where we've got very deep client penetration. Together, Ecova and ENGIE are making very big investments in the new energy of the future. In fact, ENGIE and Ecova, we've invested in a company, for example, Tendril, which is out of Denver, Colorado, or Boulder, Colorado, that is doing on the residential side what retroefficiency is doing on the commercial side. So helping to break apart a home and figure out what is the right energy efficiency program for my home versus your home, versus just rolling out lighting to everyone, spraying and praying. So they're really turning these into very personalized energy experiences in the home. And Tendril has already been paying off major dividends for Ecova. We've already gone to market together. Also, ENGIE has invested in Advanced Microgrid Solutions, AMS, which is doing battery storage for utilities and is working right now on a major rollout with SoCal Edison. And we're working together on furthering investing in battery storage. And then in the UK, we've invested in a company called Kiwi, which does demand response. It's a prominent player in the UK for demand response. And you can expect that Ecova and ENGIE will both acquire as well as invest in new technologies to bring this full capability to bear. And then, of course, our host, Urjanet. We consider Urjanet a very strategic partner of ours, them doing what they do best, giving us data, and us doing what we do best, helping turn that data into insight, into action. So we'll look at strategic partners like Urjanet to continue to enable this full long-term view of where Ecova will go. Finally, I wanted to mention, I said that ENGIE is a big player in sustainability, one of the top 10 companies there. And as a company that got into energy as a consulting firm, well, you'll see Ecova focus much more is on our ability to help the triple bottom line. This will be a more prominent position we will take. And the ability to integrate sustainability I think that many companies have thought of that as a box to check, maybe even we did, and that we will embrace this in a way that will help us to harness the full power of our people, our planet, and profitability. Ecova cannot just only do that for ourselves, but for our clients. It's our contention that the leading businesses of the future will embrace the full use of their resources, and their carbon footprints will be reduced, and that we will help reinvent industrial and manufacturing processes in a way that will drive financial, operational, and reputational results. In fact, for those of you who know Arby's, they're based here in Atlanta. I got the chance to be with them last week as a part of a big celebration with the Better Buildings Challenge that the Department of Energy does. They have made a commitment to reducing the total consumption of energy across their Arby's restaurants by 20%. And that equals 20% energy savings over 2.7 million square feet of their Arby's restaurants. And with their flagship restaurant here in Atlanta, they've already achieved 40% savings. And so it's companies like that that we work with. In fact, we worked with Arby's 5 years ago to design the blueprint that they're now executing on, which has helped them to achieve already getting 5% or already 50% of the savings that they've built in their 10-year plan. So blueprinting out what does it take to become truly moving from energy cost conscious to being sustainability focused. So let me think about, just to wrap it up at Ecova, the future of our industry is, as I said, it's complex, and it can be a burden more than an opportunity depending on where you sit. And at Ecova, there's been times where we've been on both sides, but looking forward with the backing of ENGIE and with the innovation that we believe we can bring, I can't imagine a more exciting time. We believe that we're going to be in a position to help innovate a whole new industry of energy, water, and waste management, and focusing all the way through sustainability. And you'll see us investing in a huge way to be a prominent partner, a prominent player, and a prominent participant in driving sustainability globally for our clients and for ourselves. So thank you so much. It's a great honor to be here with all of you, and I appreciate the time today. Thank you.
I'm sure there's a few questions.
Oh, okay. Oh, and you know what? We have some Ecova people here. I've got some friends in the audience. I've got Ecova people in the audience and many colleagues, so it's so nice to see all of you. But go ahead. Someone had a question? Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
I would be interested in seeing how you explained how you leverage data from your commercial customers and make it available to utilities who then can customize programs. Mm-hmm. I'm curious how this works. Could you walk me through it?
I sure can.
Sorry.
You know, the interesting thing is when Ecova bought a company called Ecos out of Portland, Oregon about 4 years ago, we saw this, what we called this utility facility connection, meaning being a part of Vista at the time, we knew that they had a really difficult time identifying non-key accounts in their territory. So if you know, being in Atlanta, it's easy to know Home Depot, right? But if you're in Spokane, Washington, Home Depot is not based there, so it's a more difficult thing. And we saw with the Vista the difficulty of really understanding what those buildings were beyond a meter, and how what their business was, and how they consumed energy, and what their asset level draw was from that energy. So what we were able to do is just start, I say, kind of turn on the lights for those buildings, so we could tell our utility partners, these are what these companies do. This is the way they're consuming energy. So suddenly they're not just looking at a Home Depot in Spokane, Washington, like a meter number, but they're able to say, what can a utility custom prescribe to that building that would help them to reduce energy consumption? So we're able to help better explain to a utility what those buildings are, what their actual performance is in energy, water, and waste, so that they can more tailored prescribe a recommendation for energy efficiency. But Retroefficiency, the company we bought, just takes that to a whole new level, because what they're able to do is take not just the data we have, but they're able to say, how does that building perform, and which assets are performing better or worse compared to engineering standards. And they can do it so cost effectively, because one of the hard things is if a utility has to pay for someone to go on site to that commercial building to figure out how to build a custom incentive program, for example. Through retro-efficiency for pennies on the dollar, they can like what New York is doing, they can build custom recommendations for those buildings. Small business owners, medium business owners, which are very, very cost effective now, they can build recommendations for those companies that can help drive down energy consumption in ways that they could not really touch before. So we use our data to help utilities understand what's happening in those buildings and how they can be more prescriptive with recommendations that address that building's use. Does that make sense?
It makes sense, yeah. I'll ask more questions later.
Okay.
Other questions?
Anybody have a
Right up-
question about the baby's name?
Right up here,
Mason?
Chris.
Weighs 7 pounds, 15 ounces. Yes. Hi.
Jana, that was a great presentation. Speaking of the baby, I'm glad you didn't get any sleep last night, because if you had a good night's sleep, I don't think we could have kept up with you.
I don't know.
That was
Thank you.
that was excellent. I'm John Fiella with Smart Energy Decisions, and the acquisition and the visualization that you do with retro efficiency.
Yes.
Are you also able to indicate to a customer what the impact of using alternative energy
Yes. So
sources
they
would
can
be?
do
Yeah.
build renewable energy return on investment models. So they can do, if, for example, if you implement a new HVAC system, which would make sense, but they're able to do it all in the platform. We are able to do it all in the platform now, but also renewable energy. So if they go about it in an alternative approach, what the return on investment might be for that. So they've built out all within the platform the ability to do kind of what-if analysis. And if you tackle this one first, they can also document when retrofits or new energy sources are installed, so that you can see, are you getting the kind of performance you expected? Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about your global strategy? Because
Yes.
that's a different thing that happened when you partnered up with EDF.
Yes.
So what are your plans? How do you see that unfolding
Yes.
in the next year or two?
One of the reasons we actually were sold in the first place, what reason we asked for that to be the next step of Ecova's development, is because our clients have international sites. And like I said, if you're talking to someone at Starbucks, Rebecca went from managing North America Starbucks to energy and sustainability to managing global energy and sustainability for Starbucks. And suddenly she's saying, I want one platform, one language, one currency, one measure. You go get all that stuff. I don't care how you do it. Get it in there and make it where I can report it in my sustainability report that the CEO signs off on. So I'm not telling you anything you don't know. Very, very complex business problem. And making sure that that data is right, it's consistent, and that clients wanted us to do for them what we do in North America, to do that in China and in Brazil, and in markets that are very, very different. And for us, under Avista's tutelage, we felt like we really needed to have the backing of a company that was in all of those markets, who had deep global understanding of how these markets operate. So within several months of the acquisition, we had our UK office was moved over to us. In fact, Marty C., who's up there on the second row, you can wave. He manages our UK office, and he plotted out this journey of going from getting data from the different countries. How do we get it into our Ecova platform, which I mentioned our clients go to daily, if not many, many times a day? How do we show that if they want to look at in French or in euros, or if they want to look at it in Portuguese, in reals? How do we build that strategy out? And so we've got now mapped out 20 countries, something like that. We're leveraging the NG locations, the NG expertise, the NG data capture capabilities, but we are focusing on our own expertise for the solutions we deliver, which is the ability to do kind of the consulting side of it. One thing you should also know is while NG, GDF Suez, is a very big producer and supplier of power, Ecova is completely separate from all of that. So we're actually kind of held at arm's length. The expectation of Ecova is that we will not in any way take a position on energy provider. And in fact, we sent a letter to all of our clients saying, like, we'll help procure energy for you. and whoever's the right provider for you based on your strategy is the right company. And so we have got CEO level support that actually the business is moving more towards Ecova kind of consulting services, quite honestly. And the support we've been given for the globalization, which countries to go to first, because of course, our clients' portfolios don't overlap at all. When Marty was tackling this with me, I'm like, surely there's like 10 countries everyone's in. Well, no. This one's into this 10, this one's in this 10. Everyone's got to be in Asia, and which language do we speak there? And so it's a really complex, and we've just built it as we've gone. And like I said, NG has people in all of these markets, so we're able to go to local people who collect data already. They collect build data. They understand it. We're able to upload that into our platform, to translate that into consistent currencies, languages, measures, so that we can display for our clients. We've still got more countries to go, but our plan between 12 to 18 months is to be in every country that our clients are in, which is every country. Yeah, sadly. I mean, happily. Kazakhstan, I mean, it's like, oh, this is tough. Yes.
To do some of the analytics and some of the functionality you're talking about, it seems that you'd need a deeper level of data than just billing data. How do you access that level of granularity data, and how do you access that?
Well, you're right. Utility bill data has been is still very meaningful, but interval data and building management or BMS data is also critical. We already do get BMS data from many of our clients through our monitoring center, which is here in Atlanta. We monitor over 10,000 sites for companies where we are doing alarm management. And so we're actually plugged into their BMS system. And alarms come to our 24/7 by 365 call center here. And we have energy experts who are looking for what failure might have happened or what issue might have been created. Someone left a refrigerator door open at a Smart and Final or something like that. So we're working with BMS data, we're working with utility bill data, and as of the last several months, we're now working with interval data. So our clients give us permission to get their interval data, and we're able to bring all that together into the platform. So you're right, it does take more near or real-time data to really drive the analytics. Utility bill data does offer a lot, and first, obviously cost is a big part of that. For our clients, many of the journeys that we see people embarking on in energy and sustainability starts with someone, maybe the CFO, saying, save money. And so that cost equation is the starting point for many clients' energy and sustainability journeys. But then, like I said, that blueprint with Arby's, it started with save money. And then now it's become a huge sustainability focus where Paul Smith, the CEO of Arby's, is an enormous advocate of sustainability, but that's not where he started. And so the cost side of that is still very critical, and we will, in fact, when we go to all these other countries, interval data is very prominent worldwide, but they still want the bill data, which I think has been interesting even for NG or GDF Suez, is how much they get regular requests for bill data. And so Ecova within the broader NG we are doing that work on behalf of the whole company because we are experts at doing that. We've been doing that for a long time. So that it's still very necessary from the cost perspective, but all those other data sources are as important, and bringing those together for forecasting and budgets and accruals and all those things in real time is critical as well.